Friends, good day. Goodbye, Mr. Chips. This is a novella written and published in 1934. The author of this novel is a famous novel indeed because it was included in our those days when we were in college, and it was in our college course. Goodbye, Mr. Chips by James Hilton. So James Hilton had written many other outstanding novel also. Goodbye, Mr. Chips by James Hilton. It is about a story of a mild-mannered teacher at a fictional British boys' school. So it is originally appeared in 1933, and beside this, James Hilton had written many other novel. James Hilton, who born in 1900 and who died in 1954, whose father was headmaster of a boys' school near London, wrote several other bestseller, including The Lost Horizon in 1933 and Random Harvest in 1941, and so he had written, beside this, many other novel. So Mr. Chips' thoughts and memories. Hilton's novel explored themes of perseverance, courage, dedication, emotional growth, institutional change, and loss. This Goodbye, Mr. Chips, no doubt is a very outstanding novel. Let me tell you about the story of this novel. Mr. Chipping, a retired classic teacher, looks back on the rich pageant of his life, which has long been inseparable from Brookfield, the fictional English public school where he taught for almost 50 years. Chipping, known affectionately to his student as Mr. Chips, joined the Brookfield faculty in 1870 at the age of 22. After a rough year at a more progressive school called Melbury, Brookfield, though a second-ranked school, quickly became Chips' cherished home. Even now, long into the retirement, he still measures his days by the school's bells, which he can hear from his rented room just across the street. Now in his 80s, Chip still acquaints himself with Brookfield's new students and master, often hosting them for tea, along with old boys from years past, renowned for his kindness, capacious memory, and offbeat sense of humor. Chips has become a beloved institution unto himself. Ambitious in his youth, Chips soon resigned himself to a modest career as a classic teacher rather than as a headmaster or academic. In the middle age, he begins to succumb to the dry rot of his repetitious job, settling into a work-a-day rut until he meets his future wife, Catherine, a spirited young woman 2 decades younger than himself, a modern woman whose progressive politics and tastes are, in theory, anathema to his own. She soon changes his every notion about radicals and women. After their wedding, Catherine joins Chips at Brookfield as a sort of school matron, and over the next 2 years, her liberalism and compassion temper his reflexive strictness and conservatism. Beyond that, his love for her infuses his teaching with a new passion, inventiveness, and humor, making him finally loved by his students. Catherine dies in childbirth along with their child, barely a year into their marriage. After his wife's death, Chips at 50 joins the ranks of the old, but his venerable status now gives him license to be more himself, eccentric, easygoing, and whimsically humorous. Soon he is one of the most beloved figures at Brookfield. However, one of his few dissenter is Ralston, the modern new headmaster, who tries to cajole Chips into retiring at age of 60 on the ground that his teaching methods and personal habits are antiquated and unkempt. Brookfield faculty and old boy network side overwhelmingly with Chips, ensuring that he stays as long as he likes. In 1930, at 65, Chips finally retires but soon agrees to return during the Great War at the bequest of the new headmaster to help fill in for masters who have enlisted. One evening, lecturing through a terrifying bombing raid, he calms the student with gentle example of his own courage, serenity, and humor. When the headmaster Chatteries dies, Chips become acting head for the duration of the war. Every Sunday, reading aloud the list of the old boys slain in action, Chips cannot help tearing up, for he can still see all their faces in his mind. On Armistice Day, Chips is roundly celebrated for his service, and he returns to retirement in his rented room across the street, where he continues to keep a hand in Brockfield's affair, writing articles, editing the school directory, and leading the old boys club. However, he catches a chill at the Armistice Day service and henceforth never feels quite healthy. Finally, in the November 1933, shortly after hosting a new Brookfield boy for tea, he sinks into a final decline, hearing the ghostly choruses of boys' names from years past singing in his head. He rallies his boys together round him one last time for a final joke and farewell. The next morning, the school reels over the news of his death. The little boy Chips hosted the day before never forgets how he told him goodbye, Mr. Chips, just as before Chips died. So, this is the story of Goodbye, Mr. Chips by James Hilton, a very lovely personality, a beautiful teacher, how he spent his memory in the school during his, how he spent with his children, how he was uh, loving, how he cherished the memories of those slain boys during the war. So, ladies and gentlemen, Goodbye, Mr. Chips by James Hilton is no doubt one of the lovely novel I have ever read before. So I suggest that those who did not read this should read it. Thank you very much.